Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my lovelies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe before you leave. Become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least where makeup's concerned, and definitely when that makeup is cheap. Today is New Makeup Monday. It means we get to explore some new piece of makeup and really just have fun. Today's centerpiece is the Violet Voss Taupe Notch palette. I actually ordered this from the BoxyCharm drop shop. This was in my latest BoxyCharm unboxing. If you guys missed that video, go and check it out. It's a really good one. We got a lot of really great fun palettes in that haul. So we're going to play with this today. We're going to create this eye. I am so in love with it. Guys, Violet Voss is just one of the absolute easiest formulas to work with. They're just easy, and I love that about this brand. I do have quite a few thoughts on this palette. We're going to go over them in just a minute, but I do want to show you guys the color story really quickly and kind of break it down a little bit. So this is a 20 shade eyeshadow palette. Of those 20 shades, how many are matte? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 matte shades out of that. So almost half, which we like, we enjoy matte shades. So 9 shades, 9 mattes, 11 shimmers, not shimmers like metallics, very soft satiny kind of shades, very beautiful on the eyelid. The problem I have with this palette is depth. So for lightness, I think you're covered. She gives you a really beautiful light bone matte, and then she gives you something a little bit creamier, a little bit peachier, a little bit warmer. And that's a theme I've kind of noticed in this palette. She gives you an option to go cooler or a little bit warmer or more neutral. So I think that if you like neutral or cool eyeshadows, this is the palette for you for sure. So of the 9 mattes, you have 2 really light kind of highlight shades. And then you have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kind of midtones. So of those 5 midtones, I think this one is the kind of coolest option of them all. And I like the mid-tone choices. I think that these two are a little bit repetitive. This one, again, is a little bit cooler. This one's a little bit warmer. And this one is the warmest of them all. But I do think that one of these could have been exchanged for something maybe even maybe like a I don't even know, because I don't put palettes together. But these two are just really similar on the eye. And then the dark choices, the deeper tones, is kind of what bothers me a little bit. So these are your only 2 choices for deep matte shades. And again, you have a warmer option and a cooler option. And though they're very beautiful shades, I don't find either one of them to be like extremely deep. I think that she could have really, one of these similar shades could definitely have been a matte black, or even a matte like super dark gray. I think really would have helped the depth out in this palette quite a bit, because there's only 9 mattes and there's 11 shimmers, and the shimmers really just don't appear as deep on the eye as they do in the pan. I'm gonna kind of show that to you here in just a minute, but they're beautiful formulas. So, and you know, probably for the regular makeup user, this is going to be fantastic. Just for me and the way that I like to do my eye makeup, I really would have appreciated something a little bit deeper in here, and maybe a few more matte options, because even with the shimmers are absolutely gorgeous, but on the eye, a few of them just look really similar. So these two on the eye look really similar. These two on the eye look really similar. It's just, I think that there could have been a few smarter choices made in here. Now these 2 shimmers I think are really beautiful. So this one is a kind of a more chocolatey, almost warmer red toned shimmer, and this one is more of like a brassy golden. It's just, they're really pretty. I'll swatch them for you. So this one, VIP, is the one that's a little bit more golden and brassy. It's just got that really beautiful like golden chocolate color, and then this one, Supreme, has a little bit more of like a warm burgundy red kind of undertone to it. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but there is just this little bit of warmth to it. It's a very deep shade, but there's that little bit of warmth to it that is very pretty. I almost wish that this one was a matte, because that is what I'm really looking for. That depth is really what I'm looking for. The shade Prime and the shade, let me wipe off the shade Prime, no, the shade A, yeah, Prime and the shade Ace. So this is Prime and this is Ace. And I think that these two shades are really, really similar. One is just the tiniest bit deeper than the other, but on the eye, they look so similar. I just think that definitely, again, a different choice could have been made. We're going to dive into the palette. We're going to use it. We're going to see, you know, really what's going on. The only problem I have with this palette is just the color choices, because the actual formula is so good. I already kind of started a little bit. This is not my first time trying to film this video. I am so tongue-tied today. I can't get a sentence out without stumbling over my own tongue. It's ridiculous. We're going to try and forge ahead though. So I will go ahead and tell you guys what I already have on my eye real quick. I used this flat eyeshadow brush in the shade Ellie or Elite. So this one right here, that beautiful bone color. And I just put that right on my brow bone, kind of tucked it right underneath my brow. And then I went in with a big fat fluffy brush and the shade Taupe right here, which is again the coolest mid-shade, mid-tone matte. And I just took that along my eye socket, kind of followed the shape of my eye socket and flipped it up a little bit on the outer corner. Didn't take it too high, just kind of sticking to the shape of my natural socket and then kind of winging it out on the outer corner. We're going to take a pencil brush and we're going to go into the shade World Class. Now, I want to show this to you guys really quickly. I thought it was a shimmer at first because it has the smallest kind of, I want to say, golden micro glitter in there. It doesn't really show up on the eye, but guys, I'm just telling you, I am not having a very good filming day today at all. This shade World Class is really beautiful, but it does have those little bits of gold micro glitter in there. We're going to use this shade and we're going to take it and define our socket. I'm just going to take my very teeny tiny pencil brush and just trace the shape of my socket using very, very gentle pressure. Kind of wing that out on the outer corner, like so. Just like that, just kind of defining the orbital socket just a bit. I do think I want to take this down. My eyes are not the same shape, so I have to kind of compensate for that just a little bit. But that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to take that same first brush that I used, and with no extra product on it, I'm just going to gently run over that line that I just made and soften it just a touch. Smoke it out a little bit. But again, beautifully, beautifully pigmented. I don't think that gold glitter really shows up at all on the eye. I just think it looks like a really beautiful, slightly deeper kind of cool toned brown, and it is very, very pretty. But again, it's the deepest matte brown, cool toned brown in the palette, and even then I just don't think that is dark enough to really deepen up my outer corner the way I really like to. And now that that's softened just a little bit, we're gonna cut the crease, and I'm gonna do like a really sloppy cut crease. and just gently trace the bottom line of this line right here. And for that, I'm going to use the same thing. Did I lose it again? I swear I would lose my head today if it wasn't attached. I'm going to use the same thing that I always use. This is my e.l.f. Camo Concealer in the shade Fair Rose. I also use the shade Fair Beige. Sometimes, just depending, Fair Rose is usually sold out. So if I can't find the Fair Rose, I get the Fair Beige. And I'm going to take that on my Dew Color concealer brush, focusing most of my pigment right on the tip of my brush, making sure I don't have any big globs of product right at the tip. And I find, y'all, I know this is kind of counterintuitive to what everybody will tell you about your brushes. Keep your brushes clean. I think that a dirty concealer brush works the absolute best for cutting a crease. I think that the old product in there, I mean, I wash it once a week, but I don't wash it the entire week because everything kind of builds up in there and it just keeps it stiff and super, super precise. I swear by it. I really, really do. I'm going to take the very tip of my applicator. I'm going to hold my mirror down here. I'm going to look down into my mirror and I'm going to gently tap. And I do have hooded eyes, so I'm going right above my natural crease. And just kind of stamping that product on, not tugging or pulling at my eye in any way. If you have textured eyelids or hooded eyes, the minute you start tugging and pulling at your eye is the minute it's going to start to look messy and uneven. And I'm just going to take that up through here, getting a nice clean line, just like that. And we have beautifully underlined it, and there is a little bit of product like kind of built up where we pressed it on. So we're going to very gently, without adding extra product, take that excess and drag it down so that it doesn't smudge. And then we can go in and add a little bit more product. My eyes are watering so bad today. I don't know if you guys can see that tear. Y'all, you think spring allergies are bad? I don't know what it is about winter. I don't know what plant it is that decides it needs to release whatever causes allergies into the air, but I cannot breathe. I cannot breathe. I am so stuffy. And I'm going to bring this down and cover my entire lid with a very, very thin layer of the concealer. I don't want it super thick. And I find that the thinner your layer of concealer, the better the eye holds up throughout the day. Like if you put too much concealer on your eyelid, I feel like you have to use so much eyeshadow to set it down and really set the concealer. I think as thin as you can possibly get that line or that layer of concealer, the better off you're going to be. And when it comes to my outer kind of portion, I'm just dragging it out. And no, not really being super neat about it because we're going to clean up this edge with a Q-tip in just a minute. Just like that. Beautiful cut crease. Now we get to play with a couple of the shimmers. And I'm going to use the same brush that I always use for my shimmers. This is my e.l.f. Concealer brush. It is a super beautiful, dense, kind of stiff, flat packing brush. It is perfect for metallics and shimmers. It just picks up everything so beautifully and so easily. I'm going to wipe it off on my towel, and I'm going to go into the shade number 1. So number 1 is the lightest shimmer in the palette. It is pretty much a very, very pale champagne color. I'm going to get a good amount of that on my brush. And I'm going to start at the inner corner of my eye and just pack that on to the concealer. And because we're packing it onto a concealer, there's really no reason to get this shade wet because it's going to stick so well to that wet concealer base. And if you guys can see, like, it's a beautifully smoothing kind of metallic shade. I wouldn't say that there is a ton of like shimmer to it or actual reflectiveness. It really is more of just a beautifully satiny kind of sheeny color. But it is so smoothing and so just like velvetizing on the eyelid. I just love it so, so much. We're going to go into something a little bit darker. We're going to go into the shade High. So this shade right here. And we're going to put this into the center of the lid, just taking the same brush. Get a good amount of that on my brush and start tapping that onto the center of the lid. And here is where you're going to understand what I mean when they don't show up on the eye as deep as they are in pan, because that's the shade on my eye. I mean, it's packed on there, and this is how deep it looks in the palette. So can you guys kind of see, like, the color is pretty similar. It's just not as deep. It's just not as deep as you think it's going to be. Still super pretty though. And I'm just kind of swirling that onto the center portion, taking that all the way up to the edge of the concealer. And then where the two meet, I'm going to do gentle circular motions to kind of fuse the two together, so we get a nice even blend. I just love the way that that lighter kind of champagne-y shimmer fades into that slightly deeper one. I think it looks absolutely effortless. And that's what we want. And then I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to go into, what shade did I use? I think I'm going to go into the shade Prime. Let's go into the shade Prime and use that on the outer corner. Same brush. See, this shimmer is so beautifully deep. I just almost wish, like, there's that black that I wanted, you know? It's a gorgeous, gorgeous, super deep, yummy kind of shimmer. It's got just a little bit of, like, bronzy warmth to it, but still super dark and deep and flattering. Taking it all the way up to the edge of the wing there. And then again, where the two shades meet, I'm just gently circular motions to get the two colors to blend. And blending shimmers together is such a, it's like so easy anyway. This eye look is one of the easiest ones I've done in a while, and I just think the payoff is so gorgeous. Like, I can't get mad at it. I can't get mad at it at all. So I absolutely love that. We are going to take care of a little bit of this wing, sharpen that up a little bit, and then do a little bit of something across the lower lash line. So for the lower lash line, I'm going to take my e.l.f. smudge brush, and I'm going to go back in to the shade. Let's go back in to the shade World Class. So the same one we used for our defining line up here. And we'll just take this right along the lower lash line, not all the way in, just like that. And then we'll go in with something that's maybe a little bit lighter. Let's go back into the taupe shade. Same brush. And just kind of underline that a little bit. Help blend out that eye. And we'll take taupe all the way in to the inner corner. Nice and blended, nice and smoky. Let's clean up our wing. I'm going to take a Q-tip and my simple eye makeup remover. Isn't it so pretty though? I love it. Does anybody else have the same problem of like their eyes not being the same size? Like this eye, this whole like part of my face, this side of my face, seems like this eye and brow bone, it's smaller and lower than this one is. Just feels like this one is bigger, and because like they're the same, but this one just looks bigger always to me for some reason. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm going to take my Q-tip and I'm going to clean up this line. Sharpen it a bit. This eye makeup remover is so good. It picks up the eyeshadow and the concealer so easy. And now it looks like our eye is nice and lifted. Oh, I love it so much. Let's see how much fallout we have going on. I didn't really notice a lot of fallout with these eyeshadows at all. Again, super beautiful, high quality shadows. I have nothing, absolutely nothing to say about the formula of these at all. I just wish that the color story was a little bit more, there was a little bit more depth. I wish there was a little bit more contrast. There's no contrast in this palette at all. And I think contrast would really help a little bit as well. It just overall looks a little bit one note. And because it's pretty one note, the looks that you get from this palette are pretty one note, but still pretty nonetheless. So we're going to do a little bit of a smoky wing situation, and for that I'm going to use my very favorite brown eyeliner. This is my Wet n Wild Color Icon Kohl eyeliner. It is just in the shade brown. It is so perfect for this application. I'm going to take it and run it along my lash line. I don't want to do a super thick line, but I do want to get a nice amount of product on there so I can smudge it out later. And it is a beautifully creamy pencil as well, so you really don't have to tug on your eyelids very much at all. And I'm going to do a little bit of a kind of baby wing. Just kind of drawing the wing on. Just the kind of shape I'm looking for. And then I'm going to go back into my smudge brush, and I'm going to go back into the shade World Class, so that deepest matte in the palette. And I'm going to use this to smudge out my wing. I want to make it nice and smoky. And you could definitely do a black wing with this as well, if you really wanted the contrast. But I thought this really beautiful deep brown looked so smoky and kind of done undone. I just thought it looked so pretty, and it adds just that little bit of something extra to the eye. It gives you that little bit of extra lift that you're looking for. Oh, it's so pretty. I don't do smoky wings super often, but they just make the biggest difference. I'm gonna go in and clean up that outer edge one more time. So another Q-tip, some more makeup remover. There was a little bit of fallout from that shade. cleaning up the eye one more time. And now we have a beautifully sharp, kind of smoky graphic eye look, and it is so pretty. We're gonna line both the upper and lower lash lines with a black eyeliner. Now, I do like to use black for the waterlines because when I use the black on the waterline, it really just helps amp up my lash line. It makes my lash line look fuller and thicker. And it really just helps to define the eye as well. On top of the fact that I just like the way the black contrasts with the blue of my eyes. I just like it. You definitely could use a brown eyeliner for this step as well. Add a little mascara and you guys are good to go. If you want to take it just a step further, you could take a like a small pencil brush. This I am going to wipe off because it is dirty. And you could go into, I want to say, let's go into the shade, let's do Upper Crust. This one right here, which is a really beautiful kind of silvery taupe shimmer. Put that on the brow bone and the inner corner. Add some mascara, and guys, you're done. Super, super beautiful everyday eye look. Pretty easy to do. I think, again, we're all about high payoff, low effort. Like, we want to knock their socks off, but we don't want to spend an hour trying to make it happen. And I think this is a perfect compromise for that. It is beautifully neutral and super, super wearable. If you're kind of wanting to play with cool tones, I think this is a really great option for you. Again, the Violet Voss Taupe Notch palette. I really, really enjoy this. I have been kind of more into the more cooler tones, especially for this coming winter. It just kind of feels right to me right now. And I'm very, very happy to have this in my collection. I do think it is a beautifully easy and effortless kind of palette to use. I think no matter what you do with this palette, you're gonna come out with something that's beautiful because the shadows in here are just gorgeous. I don't think that you would regret purchasing this palette at all, but be warned, there's not a ton of depth in here. There's not a ton of contrast. So it's going to be pretty one note. All of your looks are basically going to look like this. Different shape, but basically the same colors because they're all super similar. But if you're scared of cool tones, definitely not the palette for you. But if you're into it, I think this is a great option. Guys, I love you so much. As always, I will post everything I used in today's video in the description box, along with the links to all my other socials. Follow me everywhere. I post every single day. So if you're not following me everywhere, you better go do that. Because again, fun content every single day. And if you're following me everywhere, you don't have to worry about missing a single moment of it. Guys, as always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera, playing with some new makeup, hoping you guys are enjoying what I'm doing. And until next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.